What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another new comic book day top 10 list. Today I'm going to be ranking and reviewing all the books I picked up this week for November 9th, 2022's new comic book day. Today I'm going to be talking about books from Marvel, Image Comics, Boom Studios, and some other publishers as well. Whatnot finally released its highly anticipated Ninja Funk, and we've got a brand new one from Boom Studios with Specs, issue number 1. I'm excited to talk about these books, so let's jump right into them. And as always, everyone, as I begin to talk about these books, just be aware that there are definitely going to be spoilers. But I do give you a heads up by putting a spoiler tag down below in the corner, so just be on the lookout for that. And now this first issue that I'm about to talk about is the one and only that did not make this week's top 10 list. We've got Whatnot Publishing's brand new one, Ninja Funk, issue number 1. This is cover A. This was very hyped up. There were a lot of people really looking forward to this one, including myself. But my honest to God opinion, now that it finally released, is that it really wasn't all that good. I think it was extremely rushed. The story fell all over the place. I really wasn't a fan of the artwork either. But the concept of the story is very unique. So going forward, I feel like they've got something good on their hands, but I don't think I'm going to be continuing on with it. So the whole concept of the story is we got our main character, Ninja Funk, and he's got a team with him. The universe is off-key, and they're looking for the true harmony. So while the concept sounds cool, I don't think the delivery and the execution was all done that well. Let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about it, because this is just my opinion, of course. But now let's jump into the real top 10 list. And here we go, everyone. Kicking this top 10 list off first, we've got coming in at number 10. This is Marvel's Venom, issue number 13. This is cover A. I'm not going to be getting too in-depth with this one. You guys already know my thoughts and feelings on this series. Overall, I just don't think it's that good. We've got two separate storylines. We've got Eddie Brock's side of things, which is done by Al Ewing, and then we also have his son, Dylan Brock, which is done by Ram V. At this moment, I think Dylan Brock's story is a little bit more interesting, but at the same time, I guess I don't particularly care about either of them. I don't think the series is benefiting from having two separate writers on it. But this issue in particular, we see Eddie Brock's side of stuff, which is done by Al Ewing. And in this issue, we've got Eddie. He's still trying to figure out how to leave the garden. He thinks he's trapped there. There's a ton of action in this issue, but he finds out that he's actually not trapped in this garden. I mean, remember, he is the king in black. He is the god of all the symbiotes, so he has control over stuff. And they're trying to tell him that Meridius, while he's got this little fence up, he can still leave, and he does. But now he's still trying to find Dylan. He's trying to save his son's life, and a lot of other stuff happens as well. And we do get left on a cool little cliffhanger. Another character does get introduced at the end. Not a first appearance or anything, but I am kind of interested to see where they go with this arc. But it also does kind of have just the beginning of this new dark web event, and I don't know if I'm going to be reading that. So we're going to see how things go. But for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 10 this week. This is Marvel's Venom, issue number 13. Next up on my list this week, we've got coming in at number 9. This is Marvel's Moon Knight, issue number 17. This is cover A. This has been another really tough Marvel series to get through lately. I mean, we're 17 issues deep, and at this point, I'm pretty much just riding it out. The beginning of the series, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the plot. The action that went along with it was really well done, too. I'm just holding on to that. I'm hoping it gets a lot better, but these last couple of arcs have just been very boring to me. And now, as far as this issue goes, it was straight up action. It picks up right where the last one left off, and if you can recall, the tutor sent over his two assassins to basically kill Moon Knight, but instead ends up killing Hunter's Moon. So this whole issue was pretty much Moon Knight getting his revenge. But more towards the end, I'm talking the last couple of pages, kind of picks up with a plot. We've got all the vampires. They're at a meeting trying to figure out what to do next, how to expand their empire. Moon Knight busts in, and that's pretty much where it's going to be leading us to the next issue. Let's talk about it more down below, and for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 9 this week. This is Marvel's Moon Knight, issue number 17. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 8. This is Image's Kaya, issue number 2. This is cover A. I think this has been a good series so far. I like the artwork. I like the plot as well. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's definitely been a fun read. This second issue was a little bit more boring. I did like the first one a lot more, maybe because it was just a brand new series. We get introduced to all of these characters. There's a mystery as to what's going on in their world, and now we have some story building happening in this one. This issue, she teams up with the Lizard Riders, and they basically just go on a hunt the entire time. So like I said, a little bit more boring. But while they're on the hunt, we do get a little bit of action. We learn more about Seth and Zothan and the Lizard Riders too. But the ending, we learn about the Lizard Riders' just intentions going forward. So I'm a little invested in this series. I'm excited to see where they go with it. And for those reasons, I'm going to be continuing on with it. And we've got coming in at number 8 this week, we have Image's Kaya, issue number 2. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 7. This is Image's Radiant Black, issue number 19. This is cover A. And for those of you interested, this is the start of a brand new arc, but I will say I don't think this is a good jump on point. However, if you did read the beginning of this series up until the point where you met a lot of the other Radiant characters, you learn that there's going to be this big monster robot thing coming to Earth. If you stopped reading after that, this actually would be a good jump on point for you, because this new arc is going to be referencing all of that stuff. Marshall is still trying to get his body back to being used to being a Radiant character. He's getting used to his fighting form. We get to see Satomi. She's in prison still, but that big monster robot thing that they referenced in the very beginning that was coming to Earth has finally made it to Earth. So I'm very excited to see where they go with this new arc. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 7 this week. This is Images, Radiant Black, issue number 19. Next up this week at number 6, we've got Marvel's Spider-Man issue number 2. This is cover A. This series is honestly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I went into this one with extremely low expectations. I thought it was just going to be a cheap Marvel cash grab featuring Spider-Man, but to my surprise, it was a lot better than that. While I did like the first issue a lot more than the second one, I thought this one was a little bit on the boring side. Not bad by any means. The plot is getting there, and when it's not really plot driven, it's some really sweet action too. This issue picks up right where the last one left off. Shathra's spiders are officially on Earth, and they are too much for our heroes to handle. They've got to evacuate, they regroup in a safe spot, but that's where the issue gets a little boring. They do a lot of introductions, because if you're like me and you didn't read all of that Edge of the Spider-Verse stuff, I mean, I thought they were a little overpriced, and I read the first couple of issues, they were boring. Those characters are in this series, and they're kind of getting the reader acquainted to who they are. That's where it gets a little boring, and then they do a backstory on Moreland as to why he's helping all these spider characters. So while it was a little bit slower, it was still a good story in my opinion. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 6 this week, we've got Marvel's Spider-Man issue number 2. Here we go, folks. We are down to the top 5 issues of the week. So coming in at number 5, we've got Skybound Presents After School, issue number 4. This is cover A, and in my opinion, this was hands down the best one of the After School series so far. I really like the artwork, and to me, this one fits the description of a horror anthology series. This is what I've been waiting for from the rest of the issues. I mean, the other ones weren't bad by any means, but to me, this one was definitely the best one. I'm not going to be getting too in-depth with it, because pretty much once you know the plot, if I get into that plot at all, it's just one thing leads to another, and it's going to be spoiled for you, and this one was too good to not read for yourselves. So a little bit about it is our main character, he's a school teacher, and he's got a lot of just inner problems. I'm not saying he thinks he's a loser, but he's kind of down on himself. And he sees a bunch of kids who are also down on himself. So what does he do? He makes a school club. But this school club, a lot of stuff happens from there, and it's just not as good as you think it's going to be. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 5 this week, Skybound Presents After School, issue number 4. And next up on my list this week, we've got coming in at number 4. This is AWA's Year Zero, Volume 0, issue number 2. This is cover A. Now, I know I'm biased when I talk about this series, but I absolutely love Year Zero. It is hands down my favorite series from AWA Upshot. I'm a big horror fan, zombie fan, and this series is just so well told. We've got a Volume 1, we also have a Volume 2, and they can be read interchangeably because they both kind of follow the same stories. We just meet different characters and how they're surviving the zombie apocalypse. You could, in my opinion, start with this series as well. You could start with literally any of them, but this one is a prelude as to how the zombie apocalypse happens. Do we find out exactly how it's going to happen? We probably won't, but we get to see everyone's reactions and how they're trying to survive the just beginning stages of the zombie apocalypse. This series, same as the other two, we get introduced to a bunch of different characters and pretty much they go from there. This one just picks up where the last one left off, and everything is just picked up a little bit more. We get to see some more strange things happening. We get to hear some more chatter in the world. Just, you know, there's some disease, virus out there. Honestly, it is such a good read. I can't hype it up enough. So for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 4 this week, we've got AWA's Year Zero, Volume 0, issue number 2. Next up on my list this week, we've got coming in at number 3, this is Images, Dark Ride, issue number 2. This is cover A. I know it's only 2 issues deep, but this is a fantastic series so far. I love that first one. We got introduced to everything, a lot of the characters, the park, what's going on inside of the park, and we got left on a cliffhanger too. This issue, there is so much stuff going on in this series, and I think one reason I really like it, besides the artwork and the storytelling, they are doing an incredible job balancing all of the different plot lines going on right now. We see our main character, Sam. He's trying to save his dad's legacy at this park. He's trying to figure out a new ride or just something new to bring in guests. We've got his sister, Halloween, who's got a whole bunch of different problems going on, but she's throwing her input in there as well. We see Sam's daughter, and a lot of stuff happens to her too because she gets handed this little Danny Devil doll, and that's possessed. But on top of all of that, the dad is still a mystery. And speaking of mysteries, what happened to that kid at the end of that first issue? Like I said, a lot of crazy stuff is going on in this series, and they are doing an incredible job balancing the entire plot. Let's talk about this one down below, and for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 3 this week, we've got Images, Dark Ride, issue number 2. And here we go, everyone. We are down to the final 2 issues of the week. So coming in at number 2, we've got DC's The Nice House on the Lake, book number 11. This is cover A. This is the big penultimate issue for The Nice House on the Lake, and you better get yourselves ready, because not only was this issue crazy, but this 12th and final issue is about to be wild. I am so excited for this ending, and I know James Tynion IV is about to deliver. This issue was the aftermath of everything that happened in that last issue. Nye is officially dead. Everybody has their memories back, and pretty much the entire first half of this issue was all chaos. But then we get a little bit of plot-driven story as well. We get a flashback, and we get to see Walter and Nora's relationship and how they've built it, and just a little bit about that. There's still so much behind-the-scenes stuff that we just do not know about yet, and I know this last issue is about to be nuts. But like I said, 12 issues, might as well just wait for a trade paperback hardcover, because this is definitely better read all at once. This was a great story, and I highly recommend it. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 2 this week, we've got DC's The Nice House on the Lake, book number 11. And here we go, everyone. This is it, my top read of the week. So we've got coming in at number 1 this week. This is Boom Studios' Specs, issue number 1. This is cover A. This issue was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and it had all the elements of just an incredibly well-told story. Right off the bat, we're in present time. There's a missing kid, so it piques our curiosity just a little bit. Then we get a flashback. We get to meet our characters. We see they're a little bit on the nerdier side, and they're getting bullied. They're getting beat up. That's how bad they're being bullied. But they get these magic glasses, and it grants them wishes. A lot of stuff happens from there, and like I said, this was an incredible first issue that I highly recommend. And for those reasons, I don't want to spoil anything else for you guys. You seriously need to go into this one and just read it for yourselves. We've got coming in, taking the crown at number 1, we've got Boom Studios' new one, Specs, issue number 1. And that's a wrap on this week's top 10 list of books, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to comment down below what your top read of the week was and which ones you think I missed out on. And thank you for watching. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below with notification bells turned on. You won't regret it. And I've got 2 more sitting off to the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.